tonight. In fact, I think Jeff made a comment already. He said, stick to the script. Stick to the script. Because anybody here who knows me knows that if I'm given a microphone without a script and some constraints, I might just ramble about it for a while. So, to that end, thank you, Brian. Thank you for all of that. If for everybody who's been to club before, you've probably heard a few Hall of Fame speeches in the past. If you think back through those, some of them seem to be maybe a reflection of here's the past 20 years, a little bit of a historical review. Sometimes it's reflections on here's why I'm in the business and here's why we do what we do. Sometimes it's an opportunity just to say thank you. So when Brian asked if I'd share a few comments tonight, I figured I'd just stick with that latter component and that latter theme relative to one of thanks. And I say that pretty much from the standpoint, and maybe it was Mike Farmer yesterday said, if it's to be, it's up to me is one of those mantras that stuck with him, and that's worked for him. If I think about a mantra for me or something along those lines, it's probably more about it takes a village, or there's no I in team. And I say that because there's not a producer here who's in this room who doesn't know and recognize that if there's anything I've done, I haven't done it by myself. It's been cooperatively with a whole lot of other people. There's been a whole lot of joint effort involved. And think back to the organization Brian just referenced, is Strategic Financial Solutions. It's all a component of a whole team and what we've got going on there from that standpoint. So to Brian, first I'd say thanks for just giving me the opportunity to say thank you, for giving me the opportunity to have a microphone in my hand and just take a second or two to say thanks to a whole bunch of people. And I say that relative to, I reference our team at Strategic Financial Solutions. I look around the room. There's a whole lot of teammates here in the room, a whole lot of coaches here in the room. And so indulge me for a second or two. Just let me say a few comments relative to all that. I'd be remiss right off the bat not to mention guys like Doug Hobble, Mike Gary. We came into the business just about the same time, sat back in the bullpen. Shortly thereafter, it was time with Mr. Odegaard, Kevin, and Kenny, as well as, I'm missing one, Bernie. Where'd Bernie go? Bernie had to leave. But certainly, we were a pep group, our own little mastermind group. We did a great job keeping each other in the fanny, holding each other accountable, calling bullshit from time to time, and created a few stories as well. There's a ton of guys here in the room. I can't name everyone by name. We've had the opportunity to do some joint work together. One I will name by name isn't in the room, but he was a great coach, a great mentor, Steve Schreiber. You can't say his name and not laugh. I mean, there was a guy that if he taught me one thing, it was that it's okay to bring humor into a meeting from time to time. He was also a great coach. He gave me great insight into things like, if you know you're not going to make your goals by the end of the year, just lower your goals. Incredibly profound. All right. As well, and quite frankly, I got to change my notes a little bit because, quite frankly, I didn't know you were going to be here tonight, Frank. You weren't here earlier today, and if there's someone I would reference as a coach and a mentor and someone who's been instrumental in any success I could potentially claim, is Mr. Kinsel. He convinced me long ago and far away that you didn't have to be 45 years old to come into the business. You could do so at an early age. Introduced me to some amazing people like Earl Nightingale, Zig Ziglar, Og Mandino, Gary Kinder, and through a lot of books and tapes, just the opportunity to learn and grow from things from that standpoint. Frank never had his door closed, always kept it open, and again, just an amazing coach and mentor. To that end, there's probably a whole lot of people I could also reference as coaches and teammates who aren't here in the room, in the spirit of time and endurance for everybody else. I won't go into that, but I would reference a couple people who are here. I'm going to give a big kudo and huge thanks to Bert McClintock. Bert made a huge leap of faith, as did his bride of maybe a couple months, about 7 years ago, and came over from Des Moines to Cedar Rapids, joined our team at Strategic Financial Solutions. He's been a key component of our growth for me personally. Just been a great partner, as well as just a great friend. So I thank you for all of that. I give those same kudos to Mr. Brandt. He came on over in 2005 and quickly introduced me to Bert McClintock, and vice versa, introduced Bert to Strategic Financial Solutions. But Brian jumped on board as a team member at Strategic Financial Solutions. He's been running interference ever since, but he's been a great source of positive energy. He's been a big thinker, a great idea person, and as well, quite frankly, just a really good friend. So Brian, thank you for that. Congratulations as well on #1 on your own regional. All good. I guess relative to this whole journey, the reality is probably the most valuable coach, certainly for me, has been my wife, Joni. 25 years ago, she provided some really, really good input and just some great support and coaching. She said, yeah, go ahead and take that job with Dow Chemical. I'll follow you out to Midland, Michigan, and wherever else that takes us. And 2 years later, right away, it brought us right back to Cedar Rapids, Iowa. 2 years later, she provided some more great coaching input, and she said something to the effect of, either quit your bitching about that job or do something about it. And in retrospect, it was absolutely priceless advice. That led me to respond to an ad in the newspaper in the Cedar Rapids Gazette. Principal Financial Group was advertising for financial planners, and I thought that was something I would do in midlife when I had a little bit of gray hair above the temples and had a little bit of a crisis. From that standpoint, I could maybe get into business at that time. Led me to meet Frank Kitzel. Interestingly enough, they offered me a job, and quite frankly, more good advice from Joni. They said they offered the job, and Joni jumped in and said, "Hey, go for it." Principal promised me $1,500 of guaranteed income for the first month of employment, again, as a great coach, Joni had confidence and said that between her high-paying salary at Benton Shellsburg schools and what was going on in principal and God's grace, we'd get by. And ultimately, I just got to say thanks also for saying probably somewhere around 7,000 times, honey, you go ahead, you go to work, I'll stay home for the kids today, I'll take a day off from my job, I'll stay home with the kids today. And sometimes it wasn't just a day, then it was a few days, and then it was a week, and ultimately Joni took about 17 years off of her career. So I could have this one. And it's been a wonderful, wonderful ride. It's been a huge sacrifice on her part, and it's allowed us to do some great things together. She stayed home, she raised an amazingly strong-willed son. Not sure where he got all that, but it all worked out. As well as being an amazing mother to a daughter who's got some autistic challenges and quite frankly, has some opportunities available to her today, has accomplished some amazing things because of the mom that Joni is and what she's done. So that's been a whole lot of sacrifice on her part. It's been a whole lot of great coaching. And at the same time, I look around the room and as I said earlier, there's not anything attached to my name that's a solo achievement. It's because of a whole lot of people here, and I just thank you a ton for all of it. Thank Brian again for just giving me the opportunity to have a microphone in my hand and be able to express that, because there's not often venues to be able to do so. So I would just say kudos to everybody. Congrats on a great 2012. Looking forward to a whole lot of years of success going forward with all of us. Here we go.